So, okay, I will start. Good afternoon. Okay, so we are discussing the memory technologies. So we are discussing the various types of memory devices. So as you know that the memory unit is an essential component in the computer system for storing programs and data. Okay, and there are various types of memory devices or memory unit. Okay, such as the main memory. Okay, so what do you mean by memory? Main memory. Main memory unit is the one that communicates directly with the CPU. Okay. And what is auxiliary memory? Devices that are used for that are used as backup storage are called the auxiliary memory. Okay. And main memory consists of two types: the RAM and ROM. So again, RAM is of two types. So SRAM and DRAM, static RAM and dynamic RAM. Okay. And you have seen the organization of these RAM and ROM chips. Okay, so how they are organized, the RAM and ROM. The memory capacity is expressed as memory locations times the bits per memory location, isn't it? Okay, 2 to the power of n into m. Okay, so where n is the address lines and m is the data pins, okay, or data lines. Okay. So usually the RAM and ROM chips are expressed as like 128 into 8, so 512 into 8, so 1K into 8, like that, okay? So that is how we express the memory capacity of each of these RAM and ROM in the organization. Okay, so if you refer to the RAM and ROM chips now, what are the other connections we have in RAM? If you consider RAM, so there also we have the address pins and the data pins or address lines or data lines. Okay, and we have two chip select control inputs like CS1 and CS2 bar. Okay, so their combinations allows to select the memory operations like memory read or memory write. Okay, and then we have two other inputs such as read and write. Okay, to choose either read operation or write operation on the memory. Similarly, the RAM chip also. Okay, so RAM chip is also organized in the similar manner as the RAM. So today we'll discuss the memory address map, the auxiliary memory, and the associative memory and cache memory. Okay. So the design of a computer system must calculate the amount of memory required for the particular applications, okay, and assign it to either RAM and ROM. Okay, so let us know how this address assignment is done for each of these RAM and ROM chips. Okay. So the interconnection between memory and processor is then established from the knowledge of the size of the memory needed and the type of RAM and ROM chips available. Okay, so later, once the RAM and ROM chips are configured, no, so we need to interface these RAM and ROM chips with the microprocessor. So the addressing of memory can be established by means of a table that specifies the memory address assigned to each chip. Okay, so this table is called as the memory address map. Okay, so I will repeat. The addressing of memory can be established by means of a table that specifies the memory address assigned to each chip. So the memory address assigned to each chip is called as the memory address map. Okay, that means the table called a memory address map is a pictorial representation of the assigned address space for each chip in the system. That means RAM chip and the RAM chip. Okay. So to demonstrate the memory address map. Okay, let us consider one particular example. Okay, so assume that your computer system needs 1024 bytes of memory. Okay, assume that your application requires 1024 bytes of memory. Okay, then how do you choose the RAM and RAM chips? Okay, so assume that these are the RAM and RAM chips available. Okay, of this capacity. Okay, so we have 512 bytes of RAM by using 128 bytes RAM chips. Okay, we need a 512 bytes of RAM, but only the RAM chips available are in the capacity of 128 bytes, and we need 512 bytes of RAM by using 512 RAM chips. So now what you have to do? So you have to write the memory address map for this configuration. Okay. So which configuration? 512 bytes of RAM plus 512 bytes of RAM. So to solve this problem, we make the sequence of solution as below. Okay. So first we need to find out the number of RAM chips required. Okay. Based on the total capacity of RAM given. Okay. And also the number of RAM chips given based on the capacity of the RAM chip given. Okay. So number of RAM chips is equal to, so how do you find the number of RAM chips? So total capacity of RAM. So total capacity of RAM is given 512 bytes. We need 512 bytes of RAM divided by capacity for single chip. Okay. So only the RAM chip is available in this capacity only. Okay. So 128 bytes, but we require 512 bytes of RAM actually. Okay. So then for this, how many RAM chips are needed for this 512 bytes of RAM? So 4 chips. So total capacity of RAM is 512 bytes divided by capacity for single chip is 128 bytes. So 512 by 128 is 4. So 4 chip RAM chips are required. Okay, to configure 512 bytes of RAM. And how many number of RAM chips are given? So total capacity of RAM is how much is given? We need a 512 bytes of RAM. So 512 divided by capacity for single RAM chip. So it is 512 RAM chip. Okay. So then 512 bytes by 512 bytes is how many chip? So 1 chip. Okay. So in order to design a computer system with 1024 bytes of memory, we need 4 RAM chips. Okay. Each of RAM chip is 128 into 8 bytes. Okay. And one RAM chip of size 512 bytes. Okay. 512 into 8. Okay. So if you observe this diagram now, bottom diagram, this is the memory address map table. Okay. So what these columns specifies in the table? So the component column, this component, this is the component column. So the component column specifies whether a RAM or RAM chip is used. Okay. See how many RAM chips we need? 4 RAMs: RAM 1, RAM 2, RAM 3, RAM 4. Okay. And how many RAM chip we need? 1 RAM chip. Okay. So what is the second column? So the hexadecimal address column assigns a range of hexadecimal equivalent addresses for each chip. Okay. So this is the hexadecimal equivalent of this address range of these RAM and RAM chips. Okay. What is the third column? So this is the third column. So the address bus lines are listed in the third column. So these are the address lines are listed in the third column. Okay. So what is the capacity of this RAM? So it is 128 into 8. Okay. So how do you express this capacity? As I said, to the power of n into m. Okay. So express this 128 in powers of 2 power n. Okay, it is 2 power 7. Okay. So how many address lines are required for RAM chip? 7 address lines. Okay. So if you observe the this one here, the third column. So the address lines are listed in the third column, as I said. Okay. So address lines 1 to 7 are reserved for this RAM. Okay, RAM 1, RAM 2, RAM 3, and RAM 4. So observe here the bold this one vertical bar. Okay, so this address lines 1 to 7 are for this RAM chip. Okay. And how many address lines are required for this RAM chip? So for that, you should know the capacity of RAM chip. Okay. So what is the capacity of RAM chip? So capacity for single RAM chip is 512 bytes. Okay. So express this in 2 power of n into m. So 512 means express in 2 power n. So it is 2 power 9. Okay. So 9 means the number of address lines. Okay. So 9 is the address lines. Okay. So how many address lines we want? 9 address lines. Okay. So here, so this is RAM. Okay. How many address lines are required? From 1 to 9. So 1 to 9 is for the RAM. Okay. So yeah, observe here the bold this one border here. Okay. So this is for RAM. Okay. So these are the address lines for RAM. That is 1 to 9. So then the next question is, um, how do you distinguish between these 4 RAM chips, okay, and the RAM? Okay, so that is the question. Okay. So here is the answer. Okay. So the RAM chips have 128 bytes and need 7 address lines, as I said. The RAM chip has 512 bytes and needs 9 address lines. Okay. So for RAM, the address lines are from 1 to 7, and for RAM, the address lines are from 1 to 9. Okay. Then how do you distinguish between 4 RAM chips and RAM? Okay. So that is the question. So for this, what we'll do? So in the address lines of the microprocessor, again you will take extra address lines. So line address lines 8 and 9 represent 4 distinct binary combination to specify which RAM we choose. Okay. So we'll extend these address lines so to 8 and 9. Okay. So the address lines 8 and 9 will distinguish between these 4 RAM chips. Okay. So if it is address lines 8 and 9 are 00, RAM 1 is selected. Address line 8 and 9 are 01, then RAM 2 is selected. If address lines 8 and 9 are 10, RAM 3 is selected. If address lines 8 and 9 are 11, this RAM 4 is selected. So then how do you differentiate between this RAM, these 4 RAMs and RAM? Okay, so for that, again, we will extend the address lines to one more line. That means line number 10. So when line 10 is 0, CPU selects RAM. Okay, see here, one more address lines will choose from the microprocessor. Okay, so if this line number 10 is 0, okay, so see here, if line number 10 is 0, then RAM is selected, one of these RAMs is selected. So if the address line 10 is 1, then this RAM is selected. Okay, so this is how you distinguish between the RAM and RAM selections. Okay. So now, so what is the address assignment of these RAM and RAM chips? Okay. So the binary numbers can range from, or hexadecimal number can range from all zeros to all ones, isn't it? Okay. So then what is the starting address of this RAM 1? You fill all these zeros first. Okay. So first RAM 1, so starting address is fill all zeros, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, fill all these zeros. Okay. And how do you calculate the ending address? Fill all ones. Okay. Up to line number 7. Okay. Because RAM will have 7 address lines now. So fill all ones up to address line 7. Okay. So 1, 1, 1, 1. Okay. So remaining you fill as it is. Okay. So now convert this one into hexadecimal equivalent. Okay. So these binary numbers you convert into hexadecimal equivalent. Okay. Group 4 bits. Okay. So that is how you convert binary number into hexadecimal, isn't it? By grouping 4 bits. Okay. So starting from the right side, you group 4 bits. So 0, 0, 0 means 0. Okay. Again 0, 0, 0 means 0, and this last 0, 0. If we extend it to 16 bit, no, we'll add one more 0 here. Okay. So this is in hexadecimal. Okay. Again the ending address. So start from the right side, 1, 1, 1, 1, group 4 bits. So then this is F in hexadecimal. So F. Then group next 4 bits. So this 1 1 1 0, that means this is 7. That means 0 1 1 is 7, and the remaining are 0. Okay, so 0 0 7F. Okay, so the starting address of RAM 1 is 0 0 0 0, and ending address is 0 0 7F. Okay, and what is the starting address of RAM 2? Okay, similarly, so starting address you fill all zeros. Okay, up to 7 bit 7. Okay, so remaining bits, that means line number 8 9 10 as usual. Okay, so that is used to distinguish between RAM, these 4 RAMs, isn't it? Okay, so keep it as it is. Okay, okay, so you fill up to all 7 only zeros. Okay, for starting address, and for to find the ending address you fill all ones up to line number 7. Okay, so because RAM has 7 address lines. Okay, so then group 4 bits to form the hexadecimal equivalent. Okay, so this is 0 0 0. So 0 0 0 is group it into 1 0, then 0 0 0 1. That is 1 0 0 is how much? 8. Okay, then remaining is 0 0. So starting address is 0 0 8 0. And what is the ending address? Group 4 bits again 1 1 1 1. So this is F. This again 1 1 1 F again. Then remaining 0. So 0 0 F. Similarly, RAM 3. Okay. So up to line number 7, you fill zeros for starting address, and for ending address, all ones up to line number 7. Okay. So remaining, you keep it as it is. Okay. Line number 8, 9, 10 will distinguish between RAM and RAMs. Okay. Now group 4 bits and write the hexadecimal equivalent. So it is 0 1 0 0, and ending address is 0 1 7. Okay. Similarly for RAM 4. Okay. Similarly RAM. Okay. So for RAM, so how many address lines it has? RAM 9 address lines. Okay. First, to find the starting address, you fill all 9 zeros. Okay. See here up to line number address lines 9, you fill all zeros. Okay. Similarly, to find the ending address, you fill all ones. Okay. And so line number 10 is used to distinguish between RAM and RAM. So obviously it is 1 1. Okay. So then group 4 bits and take the hexadecimal equivalent. Okay. So it is 0 2 0 0. Okay. So starting from the right side, you group 4 bits. Okay. 0 0 0 is 0. Then yeah. So like that. Okay. Now that is the RAM and RAM configuration. Okay, address assignment for each of the RAM and RAM chips. Okay. Next, memory connection to the CPU. Okay. Then the next that this question is, how do you interface these RAM and RAM chips to the microprocessor? Okay. So this is the black diagram that shows the memory connection to the CPU. So the connection of memory chips to the CPU is shown in this diagram. Okay. So this configuration gives a memory capacity of 512 bytes of memory, 512 bytes of RAM. So how many RAMs are there? Of totally 512 bytes, 4 RAMs. Okay. So RAM 1, RAM 2, RAM 3, and RAM 4. Okay. And each of these RAMs will have which connections? Address lines. So 7 address lines. Then read and write inputs, CS1 and CS2, the chip select inputs. Okay, to select these RAMs for the selection of the RAMs. Okay, and it has data bus lines. Okay, similarly RAM. So RAM also have CS1 and CS2 bar chip select signals, and how many address lines it requires? 9 address lines. Okay, and similarly it has the data bus lines. And this is your CPU. Okay, so these are the RAM and RAM chips. Okay, and this is your CPU. So this is how these RAM and RAM are interfaced with the CPU. Okay, so what the CPU have? So CPU have address bus. Okay, so address bus from 1 to 16. Okay, so it has address bus 16-bit address bus. If you assume 16-bit, it has a 16-bit address bus now. So address lines are numbered from 1 to 16. So out of this, how many address lines are required for this memory chip configuration? So RAM requires only 7 address lines. Okay. So 1 to 7 address lines, 1 to 7 of the CPU is connected to, you can see that, address lines of RAM. Okay. Similarly, address bus of address lines 1 to 7 of CPU is connected to RAM 2. Okay. So see here, this is connected to RAM 2. Similarly, address lines 1 to 7 of CPU are connected to address lines of the RAM 3. So address lines of 1 to 7 of CPU is connected to address lines of RAM. Similarly, address lines 1 to 7, okay, and 9 and 10. Okay. Sorry. How many address lines this RAM requires? 9 address lines. Okay. So you have to consider 8 and 9 also. Okay. So 1 to 7 and 8 and 9. Okay. So because RAM requires 9 address lines. Okay. So 1 to 7 is connected to this address lines of RAM. Similarly, address lines 8 and 9. Okay. So 8 and 9 are connected to the RAM. Okay. Similarly, the data pins of RAM are connected to data bus. Okay. See here, the data bus is bidirectional. Okay. In case of RAM, because RAM is read and write. Okay. It can both read from the RAM and write to the RAM. Okay. So that is why the data bus is bidirectional here. Okay. Whereas RAM is read only. Okay. So the RAM has only output capability. Okay. So that is why the data bus is bidirectional here. Okay. So the data bus of CPU is connected to the data bus of these RAMs and the RAMs. Okay. So in order to choose between the one of the 4 RAM chips, okay, and the RAM, okay. So we have the decoder here, okay. So 2 to 4 decoder, this one. So what I mean by decoder? So decoder has n inputs and it provides to the power of n outputs, isn't it? Okay. So decoder will select one of the outputs based on the combination of the 2 inputs. Okay. So here the 2 inputs are, so which are the address lines that are used for selecting the RAM chips, RAM 1 to 4, the address lines 8 to 9. Okay. So these address lines 8 to 9 are input to this decoder. Okay. So based on these inputs, the decoder will select one of the output. Okay. If the address lines 8 and 9 are 0, 0, so RAM 1 will be selected. Okay. So the output of this decoder is connected to CS1. Okay. And this CS2 bar is connected to which address lines? 10. Okay. That is used to select differentiate between RAM and RAM also. Okay. Similarly, if the output of the decoder is 1 here, okay, so it is connected to RAM 2. So RAM 2 is selected. Okay. So that is connected to CS1 of RAM 2. Okay. Similarly, if the output of decoder is 3, then RAM 3 will be selected. If the output of decoder is 3, so then CS1 will be selected. Okay. So like that. Okay. And when this see, so in order to differentiate between RAM and RAM, so which is the address line? Line number 10. Okay. So if it is, if line number 10 is 1, the RAM chip is selected. Okay. If the address line 10 is 0, the RAM chip is selected. So if the address line 1 is, if the address line 10 is 1, then which chip will be selected? RAM chip will be selected. Okay. So we have a inverter here because the CS the input to the CS2 bar is always 0. Okay. So that is why there is a OR bar here. Okay. So for CS2. Okay. So that is why there is a NOT gate here. Okay. So if line 10 is 1, okay, then you have to make it as 0. Okay. So how do you make it as 0? By using a NOT gate. Okay. Output of this NOT gate is 0. So then 0 is the value of this CS2 bar. Okay. Then this RAM will be selected. Okay. And the read and write of the CPU is connected to the read and write of this RAM chip. Okay. So this is how the RAM and RAM chips are interfaced to the CPU. Okay, once they are configured. So any doubts here, students? So that is about the memory address map. So next we will discuss the auxiliary memory. So what is the auxiliary memory? The main memory construction is costly. So therefore, it has to be limited in size. The main memory is used to store only those instructions and data which are to be used immediately. So however, a computer has to store a large amount of information. So the bulk of information is stored in the auxiliary memory. So this is also called backing storage or secondary storage. So they include hard disk, floppy disk, CD-ROM, USB flash drives, etc. And when the electricity supply to the computer is off, all data stored in the primary storage is destroyed. That means the main memory. On the other hand, this is not true for secondary storage. The data stored in secondary storage can be stored for the desired time. Okay, that means devices that provide backup storage are called the auxiliary memory. Okay, examples of auxiliary memory are magnetic disk and tapes. Your hard disk is an example of the auxiliary memory. Okay. So magnetic disk or hard disk and tapes are commonly used auxiliary devices. Okay. And it is where the programs and data are kept for longer term storage or when not in immediate use. Okay. And the auxiliary memory is not directly accessible to the CPU. So that you have to keep it in mind. It is not directly accessible to the CPU and is accessed using the input and output channels or IO processor, we can call it. Okay. So we'll discuss one such auxiliary memory. Okay. So one such auxiliary memory is the magnetic disk. Okay. So what do you mean by magnetic disk? A magnetic disk is a type of memory constructed using a circular plate of metal. Observe the diagram here. It is constructed using a circular plate of metal or plastic coated with the magnetized material. Okay. So we have cylinder like this, consisting of the circular plate of metal coated with the magnetized materials. Okay. Then how the data is written onto these magnet disks? Okay, that is the question. Okay. So the memory bits are stored in the magnetized surface in spots along the concentric circles called the tracks. Okay, so these are the tracks. If you observe now, so these are the tracks. Okay, so the concentric circles. So these concentric circles are nothing but the tracks are commonly divided into sections called sectors. Okay, so these are sectors. Okay, these are sectors. So there exists a mechanical arm called as read-write head. So this is the read-write head. Okay, so what is the use of this read-write head? So this is used to read from or write to the disk. Okay. So there will be a spindle that will be running constantly at some speed. Okay, and this read-write head is used to read from on and write to the disk. So this is about a small description about the magnetic disk. Okay. Next, the associative memory. So an associative memory is a concept in the main memory itself. Okay. So to search a particular data in memory, so what is the procedure? So to search a particular data in memory, the procedure is like this. Okay. So data is read from the certain address. Okay. And compared. If the match is not found, content of the next address is accessed and compared. Okay. It goes on. So this goes on until the required data is found. The number of access time depend on the location of data and efficiency of searching algorithm. Okay. So the searching time can be reduced if data is searched on the basis of content. Okay. Instead of the address. Okay. So a memory unit accessed by the content is called the associative memory. Okay, so remember, a memory unit accessed by the content is called the associative memory or the content addressable memory, CAM. So this type of memory is accessed simultaneously and in parallel on the basis of the data content. And memory is capable of finding empty unused location to store the word. And these are used in applications where search time is very critical and must be very short. That means many applications requires a table of items to be searched for a given value. The search time can be reduced considerably if the stored data can be identified for access by its content rather than by its address. So such a memory is called as an associative memory or a content addressable memory. So here is the block diagram of the associative memory. Okay. So here you can see the associative memory array and logic. Okay. So it consists of a memory array of M words. Okay, so this is the associative memory. Okay. Hardware configuration. Okay. So associative memory consists of an array of M words. Okay. So M words with N bits per word. Okay. Array of M words with N bits per word. Okay. And we have other external registers such as the argument register A. So the argument register A and a key register K of N bits, one for each bit of the word. Okay. And we have a match register M. So match register has M bits. Okay. One for each memory word. Okay. So how this comparison is done? Each word in memory. Okay. So associative memory has M word, isn't it? So each word in memory is compared in parallel with the content of the A register. So the argument register or the A register holds the word that you want to search. Okay, in the memory. Okay, so each word in memory is compared in parallel with the content of the A register. For the word that match, the corresponding bit in the match register is set. So the key register, what is the importance of key register here? The key register provide the mask for choosing the particular field in A register. Okay. So repeat, key register provide the mask for choosing the particular field in a register. Okay. So the entire content of A register is compared if key register content all is 1. Okay. So the entire content of A register is compared if the key register content is all 1. Okay. Otherwise, only bit that have 1 in the key register are compared. Okay. So that you have to remember. Okay. So if the compared data is matched, corresponding bits in the match registers are set. So reading is accomplished by sequential access in memory for those words whose bit are set. So here is an example. So suppose that the argument register A and the key register K have the bit configuration shown below. So here is the A and key register content. A is having 101, 111110 and K 111 0000000. Okay. So only the 3 leftmost bits of A are compared with only these 3 leftmost bits 101. Okay, are compared with this memory word. Okay, so we have 2 words here, word 1 and word 2. Okay, are compared with the memory words because K has ones in this position. Okay, K has ones in this only 3 leftmost bits of A. Okay, so only the leftmost 3 bits of A are compared with the word 1 and word 2. Okay, so 101 of this argument register A are compared with 100 of word 1. Okay, so they are not matching. Okay, so no match is found. So the bit in the match register is will not be set. Okay, it will be cleared. Okay, similarly, when you compare with word 2 with word A, okay, so the leftmost 3 bits of the argument register A, okay, are equal to the leftmost 3 bits of word 2. Okay, so then there is a match. Okay, so that's what he's saying. Word 2 matches the unmasked argument field because the 3 leftmost bits of the argument, so that means the argument means A register, and the word are equal. So in the next slide, this part is expanded. Okay, associative memory logic, array and logic. Okay. So this is the associative memory of M word. Okay, and n cells per word. So this diagram represents the relationship between the memory array and the external registers. Okay. So which are the external registers? A and K. Okay. K register and the argument register. Okay. And this is the associative memory. Okay. Of M words. Okay. So if you refer here, the associative array, the cells present in the array are marked by the letter C. Okay, so if you observe the diagram, okay, so these are the cells C11, C1J, C1N. So these are the cells in the associative memory. So the cells present in the array are marked by the letter C, okay, with the two subscripts. So with the two subscripts, so the first subscript gives the word number, and the second subscript specifies the bit position in the memory word. Okay, so say for example, the cell Cij. Okay. If you consider this cell Cij, what it specifies? It specifies the cell for bit j in word I. Okay, so that is the meaning. Okay, okay, we are referring to the bit j in the word I. So that is the meaning. Or C11. Okay, so we are referring to the cell for bit 1 in the word 1. Okay, so like that. So a bit aj, okay, so the argument register a1, a2, etc. up to aj and up to an. So a bit aj in the argument register is compared with all the bits in the column j of the array, provided that the kj is equal to 1. Okay, so this process is done for all columns j is equal to 1 to n. So if a match occurs between all unmasked bits of the argument, that means the register a, okay, and the bits in the word I, the corresponding bit mi in the match register is set. Okay, so m1, m2, etc. mm. So if one or more of the unmasked bits of the argument and the word do not match, then mi is clear to 0. So that is about the associative memory. Okay. So any doubts here? Chetan, Bharat, Gayatri, Harshit, Sairam.
Yes, sir.
So that's it.